We love Nintendo, you love Nintendo, and apparently the creative teams behind a bunch of our favorite animated series love Nintendo too. Hi, I'm Jacob with Channel Frederator, and today we're once again revisiting the vast expanses of the animated universe to find even more Nintendo references in cartoons. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and click that little bell icon to become part of our notification squad. The Simpsons. In the first installment of our Nintendo References series, we talked about how Mario, Luigi, and Donkey Kong were part of Bart's conscience in the Season 7 episode Marge Be Not Proud, but current Simpsons episodes are still tossing out Nintendo references left and right. Another Mario cameo comes in Season 16's Homer and Ned's Hail Mary Pass. When an Italian tour bus passes the Simpsons' home, Mario jumps out and asks for a picture with the internet monkey. Homer proceeds to throw garbage cans at Mario, and the camera angle changes, making the fight a direct parody of Donkey Kong, complete with Mario attempting hammer smashes and Homer yelling incoherently like an ape. Nintendo hardware also shows up in the form of the Funtendo Z, which appears in a couple of episodes, starting with $1 Million Maybe. Lisa buys a Z for the Springfield Retirement Center, which is really generous and conscientious for an 8-year-old, because those were like well over $100 in 2010. In the episode, we get to watch Mr. Burns demo Z Sports Golf and a World War II shooting game that looks a little like Call of Duty. The folks at the retirement home discover Z Sports Tennis, and much happiness ensues. However, the nurses get fed up with the residents' newfound vivacity and kill the Z by putting it in the dishwasher. In the Season 23 episode, The Food Wife, Homer, Bart, and Lisa are attending the E4 convention when Funtendo announced their newest system, the Z Zoo. The Simpsons, of course, demonstrating their amazing prowess to skirt those copyright laws. The real-life announcement about the Wii U was made in 2011, a year prior to this episode's air date at the real-life E3 convention. Nothing yet on Funtendo's equivalent of the Switch, though, which I can only assume will be called the Zwitch? The Zitch? Zit. The Funtendo Zit. The Simpsons isn't the only cartoon that likes to use Donkey Kong-inspired gags to advance the plot, though, which brings us to our next Nintendo reference. Fairly OddParents. Nickelodeon's eternal hit machine, The Fairly OddParents, may be up to Season 10, but think back to simpler times, back in Season 2. In Fairy Fairy Quite Contrary, Timmy and some rich kid named Remy realize they both have a fairy godparent, or in Timmy's case, godparents. Naturally, a magical duel ensues because apparently rich kids don't like normal kids to also have cool things. The first trial of this magical duel involves a giant ape grabbing the godchild in his gigantic hand and throwing barrels down a set of diagonal staircases at the godparent. So yeah, it's totally Donkey Kong. But I don't really get the whole barrels and staircases thing, cause, you know, fairy godparents can fly. In the end, Cosmo rescues Timmy by conjuring a literal bunch of bananas, though it stands to reason that if he'd conjured 100 bananas, he would've gotten an extra life, cause this whole stage is pretty much one big Donkey Kong reference anyway. Muppet Babies. You might remember Doug Funny's Super Pretendo from one of our earlier videos, but years before Doug was on the air, another show named their Nintendo knockoff Pretendo. When the Muppet Babies episode It's Only Pretendo was in production in 1989, the only Nintendo system available in North America was the original Nintendo Entertainment System. The Game Boy wasn't released in North America until July of that year. The episode is littered with NES references. In the very first scene, Gonzo imagines himself as a mustachioed, red-hatted hero named Super Barrio Weirdo. He goes up a set of very Donkey Kong-like staircase girder things while fighting a dragon named King Copacabana. Gonzo's video game library includes Galaxy Invaders, a nod to Space Invaders, as well as Super Mario Brothers, Son of Super Mario Brothers, and the classic second cousin of Super Mario Brothers. Eventually, Gonzo and Piggy play The Legend of Imelda, The Quest for the Golden Key, and that's a weirdly intricately titled reference considering the most recent Zelda game that would have been released at the time would have been 1988 Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. But hey, at least The Legend of Imelda is multiplayer. Must be nice, he said as the Four Swords games just cowered in a corner somewhere. The Quest for the Golden Key features a swamp though, and there was Medoro Swamp in The Adventure of Link. The blobby winged baddie that Piggy defeats kinda sorta looks like an ache, and the ground-bound blobs that go after Gonzo kinda sorta look like bots, so Muppet Babies has its now obscure Zelda villains down. But while it's got its weirdly specific Zelda lore down, in a muddling of Nintendo properties, the music at the beginning of the Legend of Zelda series sounds like it was obviously inspired by the cave theme from Super Mario Bros. 2. Throughout the episode, the rest of the Muppet crew play versions of other NES games. There's an iteration of Tetris and a Skateboard or Doom appearance, which is based off the not at all forgotten and still completely amazing Skate or Die. Scooter plays a game modeled on World Class Track Meet. The game uses the Mighty Mat, a nod to the real-life power pad that World Class Track Meet used. The power pad was a mat you'd spread in front of the TV, and if you did all of your running and jumping within the circles, it would register as a button press. Think of it as Twister meets Wii Sports meets DDR. are, except none of it works nearly as good as it's supposed to because it's the 80s. And in the most obvious joke of all time, even worse than some of ours, Kermit plays Frogger. But interestingly, Frogger wasn't an NES title, although it was released on the SNES in 1998. And while the Muppet Babies managed to beat their own Legend of Zelda game, another cartoon took it one step further and turned a certain villain into one big ol' reference. Adventure Time. Adventure Time loves to serve up pop culture references. We've already devoted a whole video to references in Adventure Time, and if you caught that, you can guess what's coming. Because yes, Adventure Time of course has a Legend of Zelda nod. The Season 4 episode Lady in Peebles features the return of Ricardio the Heart Guy, the anthropomorphized version of the Ice King's heart, but more evil and noticeably smarter. Ricardio spent some time working on himself in his absence. Namely, he's been using the Ice King's tissues to fashion himself a new body, and that new body looks an awful lot like one of the formations of Majora in the final battle of Majora's Mask. There's actually a slight disagreement on the internet over which formation Ricardio most resembles. In our Adventure Time references piece, we said that Ricardio looked like the final form, the burly Majora's Wrath, and I can definitely see the resemblance. Ricardio's quite buff and has the nice paper smiley face above his actual body. But after looking at it more, I'd argue he looks more like the second form, Majora's Incarnation, which really accentuates his curves, but by which I mean the heart shape of Majora's Mask. Plus, burliness aside, the way Ricardio's limbs just jut out from his heart body are a dead ringer for Majora's Incarnation. But hey, the Adventure Time team were probably inspired by both. Either way, it's definitely still a Zelda reference, not to mention just how Bubblegum beats Ricardio. You kill Majora's Incarnation by kicking him in the face, or something like that, I don't know. My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Speaking of sneaky Zelda references, there's one in My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, but it's so quick that it's easy to miss. But quick doesn't mean not obvious. As they've done with many different characters, they made Link into a pony. Pony Link is chock full of Easter eggs, from the blatant to the thoughtful. Obviously, you gotta have the green cap and short and spunky blonde haircut, and any Pony Link has to be dragging a wooden cart full of rupees. Should've sprung for the wallet upgrade, buddy. Plus, his cutie mark is an incomplete heart container. And notice that Pony Link looks an awful lot like Epona, Link's iconic horse companion. He's the proper chestnutty color and has a white mark running down his nose, which I think is called a blaze. I'm not really a pony expert though. Not real life ponies anyway. Pony Link trots by in a background shot of the Season 6 episode Flutter Brudder. He doesn't have any lines or close-ups or anything, but that hasn't stopped Know Your Meme from creating a page for Pony Link as canon, because of course he is. If Pony Big Lebowski is canon, which it is, here's a screenshot, Pony everything is canon. It's ponies all the way down. The Loud House. It's no surprise that several cartoons have parodied that classic friendship-destroying racing game Mario Kart. Gumball has done it, and now The Loud House has done it too. Look no further than the Season 2 episode Pulp Friction, where Lori instigates a high-speed car chase in pursuit of Principal Huggins, who confiscated a comic book made by Lincoln and Clyde. Yeah, okay, high speed might be a bit of an overstatement. The Louds are in their van and Huggins is in a golf cart. Still, that doesn't stop Lynn from throwing a boomerang at Huggins' cart. Luann then follows up by tossing bananas, the favorite item of little siblings everywhere. Of course, both are items famously used in the Mario Kart series. Bananas have been in the game since the dawn of time, and boomerangs in the form of boomerang flowers since Mario Kart 8. And here's a bonus Mario shout-out. In Butterfly Effect, Lisa becomes a gas station attendant and wears a red cap that looks a lot like Mario's. Unfortunately, Lisa's wasn't from the Cap Kingdom, so it doesn't have secret powers like Mario's companion, Cappy. Dexters Lab. Most of these references have imported characters and props from the world of Nintendo, but this next reference draws on the experience of being a gamer. In the Season 5 episode, Copping an Aptitude, Dexter is deemed smart enough to attend college, but alas, the boy genius is annoyed to find out that most of his fellow students are slacking off. In the most relatable scene of all time, a group of students ignore their homework to kick back and play some Mario Kart. This is also known as my first year of living on campus. There's talking of getting people with leader shells and striking them back with good old plain lightning. They mention Toad by name, and if you listen real hard, you can hear the sounds of revving carts as well as sound effects that sure are very similar to the item block and second lap sounds. Of course, Dexter is not amused, because we all know that Dexter doesn't know how to party. I mean, I don't either, but you know, it's a tense scene. Uncle Grandpa. It shouldn't surprise you that an ultra-eccentric show like Uncle Grandpa is too cool for an obvious in-your-face Mario reference, although they did do that once in Adventure Mentor, albeit way in the background and in black and white. But we're gonna look at a more obscure reference to the maps of old Mario games, which they've done. In the 11th episode of the series, Afraid of the Dark, Uncle Grandpa examines a picture of a knight fighting a motorcycle, you know, just some normal slice of life stuff. But the picture is actually a map, and one that very, very much looks like like the map from Super Mario World. The similarities go down to the smallest details. There's a warp pipe and a toad house, which technically weren't in Super Mario World and they were in Super Mario Bros. 3, but whatever. There's also those hills that inexplicably have eyes, a drawbridge, a beige-colored rounded path, and ladders that go up and down the cliff sides. Not bad for a secret map. 35 episodes later, we get the short Smile Juice, a trippy music video that appears after Ballin'. Well, okay, I guess trippy is an adjective that could be applied to all of Uncle Grandpa, though. It's trippier than usual, I guess? Pizza Steve's section of the song starts with him inside an 8-bit game, traveling up a staircase made of brown squares, jumping down a green flagpole, and then entering a brick castle that's really just Uncle Grandpa's mouth. Gross. In other words, it's the end of level 1-1 from Super Mario Bros., minus Uncle Grandpa's mouth, of course. Gross. It's subsequently revealed that Pizza Steve was playing a game called Pizza Bros 2, but it bears mentioning that the level Pizza Steve played looks nothing like the end of the first level of Super Mario Bros. 2. Actually, Super Mario Bros. 2 didn't have flagpoles at all, just those weird, creepy bird mouth things. I never bothered as a kid to look up what those were. Video games are weird, guys. And there you have it, even more Nintendo references and cartoons. Are there any references that you've seen that we missed? I can tell you for sure that we most definitely did miss some stuff, because we could go on doing this literally forever and probably still miss some references. So let us know some of your favorite references in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Channel Frederator and click that little bell icon to join our notification squad and stay on top of all of our videos. And of course, remember, Frederator loves you.